Hey everyone, it is time that we talk with Otis Kirk about some Arkansas football recruiting. And Otis, the big news in the past couple of days is Patrick KUTAS committing to play for the O line at Arkansas in 2022. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, he's from Memphis Christian Brothers. I tell you what, he's a very big player. He's probably got 6'5", 6'6", and about 295 range there. He is he's a kid that Arkansas really wanted badly. They got on him, and of course, a lot of other schools did too. And somebody asked me yesterday, did Tennessee offer him because they weren't listed in the Final Four? Yes, Tennessee offered him. A lot of schools offered him, but he cut it down to Arkansas, Illinois, Oregon, and Florida State. So, if he stayed pretty much in the SEC, it was going to be Arkansas. And he visited all four schools and really liked Arkansas when he got here. He said it's just the Zoom. Well, he actually said this about all the visits. He said the Zoom visits just didn't do justice to what you see. And so he really liked his Arkansas visit. When he was here, the odd part is he was being recruited to play defensive line by Coach Ashley. And I asked him, I specifically asked him, I said, aren't some schools recruiting you to play offense? Because I know most of them were. He said, yeah. Then I asked him, what's your preference? Expecting him to say defense. He said, I don't care. I don't have a preference. I can play either. And that surprised me. And I'm going to tell you why. And I think he made a very, very wise decision choosing offense. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's Yelta Proho Part 2. And I mean that is an obvious compliment. I mean, there's nothing to not like about Yelta Proho. Yeah. And I think this kid, here's the problem when you watch film on a kid like Patrick or Marion Harris, J.J. Hollingsworth, you're looking at kids that are playing, big kids that are playing both ways, Tara. And think how hot it is in late August, September, the whole month, even sometimes in first 2, 3, 4 weeks in August. October. It can be hot out there. And you're talking about these. AJ's not 300, but these other kids are over 300 pounds, and they're going on both ways in this hot heat, and it's tough. And so sometimes people say, well, they're not very aggressive. Well, the reason they're not very aggressive, they're worn out. I mean, they've got to pace themselves. You can't, I'm not saying they're worn out, but they're pacing themselves, which they've got to do to play both ways for their high school. But I watched Patrick on both sides of the ball, and I really think he can dominate on offense. I think JJ is set on defense, and I think Amarian Harris is much better on offense than defense too. But so I like the two bigger guys at offensive line, but Patrick is just, I think that was a very wise decision. Here's what it does. That gives Arkansas 4 offensive linemen committed in this class. That's what they wanted was 4. Okay. Yep. So now it looks like, I'm not saying now some big time player comes and says, I won't come to Arkansas. I'm not saying that Sam's going to say no, but I'm just saying right now, numbers wise, they're pretty much set at offensive line, tight end, and running back. And that's a good position to be in. That leaves wide receiver where I think they've got a kid at wide receiver, QUINCEY MCADOO, who's as good as anybody in the country. I really believe that. But that's a position. People ask me, what are they going to do there? There's some high school players that they're bringing in here in the next months that could play there. But I think that's a position where at the end of the day, Arkansas could look for an older player later on. I think they'll sign 2 or 3 more, but I think one of them could very well be a grad transfer or an older player. And here's why. You lost Mike Woods last year, and you're going to lose probably, in all honesty, Traylon Burks and a lot of other players. A lot of the other kids are seniors, and you're losing a lot of players there in a 2-year span. And so I think that's a position where they could go for an older player. It may depend on how well the guys like Keytron Jackson, Jaden Wilson, and all these younger guys how quickly they adjust to the college game. But that's a position that they could. Still not sure what they're doing at quarterback, if they're going to do anything. But otherwise on offense, it seems like they're pretty set. I mean, look, if you're interested in offense, keep an eye on wide receiver recruits that we write about, because that's where most of the interest on offense is going to be from this point forward.
Well, 2 guys that we have talked about before, Jordan Crook and Anthony Brown, those 2 guys are going to be announcing their commitment this month. Where do you think they stand right now?
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring them up. I know we talk about them every week.
But yeah.
I think it's important to talk about them because they're going to be they're going to be making decisions. We know Anthony Brown is going to be the 29th, but I've got some information now that I think Jordan CROOK will be the 31st, if not before then. And I think Arkansas is setting very, very good for both of them.
Okay,
and I
good
think
news.
right now Arkansas is at 16 commitments. If you got those two, you'd probably be at you would be at 18 unless one of these other kids. There's some other players that can commit before that, but I mean, I think we know now Anthony Brown obviously is going to be the 29th, and I feel very good about him. They've got a couple of his buddies on the team already, Jalen and Miles Rouser. But I think right now Jordan CROOK would pretty much really set that linebacker room in a good shape. I mean, you're talking about, you've got Caden Henley, who happy birthday today, Caden. I hope you have a great birthday today, man. And then Manny is committed to Arkansas, and we'll see what he surprised some people by coming to Arkansas. Not really me, but there were some people. I'm not talking about reporters here, but reporters other places I know were shocked. But he had told me he wanted to commit after the first visit, but his mother asked him not to do that. Not to at least take one or two. Compare it. So not just jump at the first time you visit. And I think that's smart. He had something to compare it to, and she could compare it to. And him committing to Arkansas was not a surprise, but it was good pickup, great pickup for Michael Becker, linebacker coach, who, by the way, he's done an outstanding job, Tara. I mean, he came in here and he's got two linebackers. I started to say he's got three, but Jordan CROOK on that line just yet. But I think I feel good about Jordan, and those are all three kids that can play football. Those are good ball players, real good.
Chaz Nimrod out of Bentonville. You had the chance to catch up with him, I guess, during the 7-on-7 stuff that was going on the past couple days. He had his unofficial visit back in June.
Right.
What's he thinking right now? I know he's got a ton of offers.
Yeah, he does, and he's took 4 officials, so he's got one left if he wants to take it. He told me he's probably going to make a decision later this month. I don't have a feeling for Arkansas because he hasn't officially visited them, but he can surprise me. But he's visited Utah State, Washington State, Kansas State, and Illinois. Okay, I remember those off the top of my head. I'm improving, people. No, he's had those 4. I just remember 3 states and then Illinois. But he's visited those 4 colleges officially. He's took some unofficials. I tell you what, he's got very good speed. The kid can fly. He's also a standout on the track team there at Bentonville. And whoever gets him is going to get a good receiver. Chaz has probably got to just get in the weight room, because right now I think he spends a lot of his time playing football and then playing running track. So he's probably not spending as much time in the weight room as he will in college. Right. And when he gets there, he's going to put on a lot of weight. He's going to be a good receiver simply because he's got 2 things going for him. Well, he's got more than that, but I mean, he's got 2 things that everybody loves in a receiver. He's got speed and he's got good hands. And that's something that you can bulk him up and get him stronger and this and that. The little work on his routes. I mean, there's pro guys still working on their routes. And I'm not saying he runs bad routes, but I'm just saying there's a lot, but the 2 biggest things with him is speed and hands. He's got those. And so any receiver coach would take that and know that he can fill in the blanks on the rest and upgrade it tremendously. He's going to be a good college player. I don't know where he's going, but he's going to be a good player. Good.
Let's hope it's to Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, he and the kid at Parkview are the only 2 kids right now that have offers to Arkansas. Jalen White, I'm talking about, the safety, that haven't committed somewhere yet. So we'll, the 2 kids at Fayetteville were offered, but they committed elsewhere. But right now, I mean, you're looking at Parkview, and I think they'll get Jalen White. I think Arkansas will. I just don't have a feel on Chaz like I do Jalen, but we'll see. I mean, he could help Arkansas, and we just talked about that's a position where Arkansas still needs some help on the offense in recruiting in this class. They've got 1, and I think they'll sign at least 3 there. Okay. 2 more, I think. But like I said, Quincy McAdoo, I think, is as good as anybody in the country. I don't care where he's ranked.
I'm going to be watching that guy because you're talking so highly about him. So
I mean, Clarendon's going to have 2 kids on that team this year. It's going to be one of my first stops. Get your checkbook out, Lanny. I won't go to Clarendon. I think Dax Courtney and Quincy McAdoo, they're going to, and you know, with Dax's dad, the coach Mark, who I've known for 100 years, that's going to be a good team over there. It's going to be fun to watch them play this year. And heck, they may put me at quarterback with those two receivers like Dax and Quincy. I think I could get one or two completions out of the deal.
Well, I mean, you've talked about it now, a couple different positions that seem to be in good position right now, but you know, what are some areas that you think Arkansas still needs to get some more guys in at?
Well, yeah, I wanted to bring this up because I think on defense it's going to be similar to what I said at receiver. They've got 2 defensive linemen committed. I think they signed 3 transfers on the defensive line. Well, 4 counting the junior college kid. I forgot about Jalen Williams, but they signed 3 transfers late on the defensive line. And I think you'll see Arkansas, they've got 2 high school kids committed there. I think they'll probably try to get some more high school kids there. Well, I know they will. But they don't be surprised if they go for an older or 1 or 2 older defensive linemen, because that's another position. See, you signed those kids last year, but you're going to be losing all Ridgeway, you know, Utsey and the other kid from Missouri. You're going to be losing those. So you've got to, you know, you've got some younger guys. You've got younger guys, but it's going to be interesting to see if they don't go for an older player there and on the defensive line at receiver. For its linebacker, let's say they get CROOK. I feel pretty good about the numbers there. Even though you've got some older guys like Grant Morgan's obviously going to be, this is going to be his last year.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty good if they get 3 linebackers. And then I think when the dust settles on the secondary, when you add Anthony Brown to Jalen Lewis and Miles Rouser, and then you get Jalen White, you know, I think they'll go for another cornerback there. They'd love to get the kid out of Tulsa Booker T, who visited, what was that, the last weekend they had recruits, I think it was. He came over from Tulsa. Booker T, a big-time player, #1 player in Oklahoma. But they'd love to get him, but if they don't get that, they can't get that. I think you'll see them try to get another cornerback to go in this class, and it'll be interesting to see who they do there. But overall, and they're going to sign a punter. But I think other than you're talking about – probably, you know, if you got 16 commitments public, you've got 9 scholarships. There'll be a punter out of that, and then like I said, I think CROOK and Anthony Brown will come, so that would get you to 19 right there. And that would leave 6 scholarships, and I think you'll see a lot of defensive linemen and wide receivers in those 6, and probably a cornerback. So that's where that's kind of the numbers wise. If you're wanting numbers, I think you'll see maybe 2 or 3 defensive linemen, 1 or 2, couple more receivers. Assuming they go with those 2 kids, you know, the linebacker and the safety, then I think you'll see another couple of kids in the secondary, and then a punter, and that probably would pretty much finish out the class. I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. I mean, I think they're in a wait and see mode. I mean, you've got every quarterback they've got on that campus is a young kid. Mm-hmm. All of them are there. They're young. And so if KJ comes through and Malik and Lucas and John, everybody's there, you know, and the other kid, Landon Rogers, I mean, you're sitting with a lot of young players, and you don't. That's a position where you can lose a player because they want to play. And so if you can hold on to most of those kids and they play well this year, then there may not be a point in signing one. And then you go out and get you a good one in 2023 class, I guess, or something. You know, you want to just go ahead and you can stockpile quarterbacks, but you can stockpile players at positions, but quarterback's a hard position to do that because kids get antsy and want to leave, and we've seen it. We've seen it. I mean, every school. That's not limited to Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas doesn't have the only school, or be the only school in that boat. I mean, every school is, because kids want to play, and most places they know one quarterback. KJ sat on the bench last year until Felipe got hurt, and then he played at Missouri. But that's a perfect example of what you've got to do if you're a quarterback. When your number's called, you may sit there 9 games and not play, or be mop-up duty if you play. And then when you get your chance in that 8, well, last year was the 9th game because they only played 10, but it was equivalent of being 11th grade. But I'm saying KJ was ready to play, and when he went to Missouri and did what he did, I think that gave Sam Pittman and Kendall Browse and those guys sense that, hey, maybe we don't have to go out and, just take a quarterback to be taken. We may have one right here in front of us, a young kid. And so that's what you got to be. And that's what Malik, assuming KJ's going to start, Malik's got to be ready to go. Lucas Coley's got to be ready to go. All of them do. I mean, they all, Landon, all of them, they've got to be ready. When their number's called, that's what Drew Morgan did a few years ago at wide receiver, Tara. When Keon Hatcher and some of those guys went down, Drew Morgan went in there, and he might not ever played had he not gotten his chance and then did something when he got it. So it's that way at every position.
All right. Well, Otis, always nice catching up with you every Sunday, as always. And of course, still reading all of your articles over on our website, hogville.net. So thanks so much for your time and your insight. That's going to wrap us up, though, for our recruiting report.